Trying to push your Java project from Eclipse IDE to GitHub but facing challenges to authenticate your remote repository even with the right credential? So hello everyone, my name is Lata Verma and welcome back to my channel Techie Brainz. Many times it happens that let's say you have created a GitHub repository and you would like to push your Java project using Eclipse IDE onto your remote repository, but still at the time of authentication, if you are providing even right credentials, then also your remote repository is not authenticated and you are ended up without pushing your project onto the GitHub repository. You cannot push that project successfully onto the GitHub repository. So today in this video, we are going to see that what is the problem behind and how we can solve this problem. So guys, first of all, we'll see what is the way to push your Eclipse Java project or Eclipse project or in any technology onto the GitHub. So this is the workflow in Git. This is the workflow in Git. What you do, basically you work in a particular working directory. It is the current directory of your project where you have saved your project, right? And your local repository is maintained there, right? And after that you add your project to the staging area. Staging area is also called as index area, and here whatever number of files you would like to push to the local repository, first they go to the staging area, to the index area. Once you commit the changes, then all the files, all the data, all the content, all the modification which is made in the staging area is committed to your local repository. This is the local Git repository we have. And after that, you can commit it to the remote repository. Remote repository means onto the repository of GitHub. Okay, so this is the basic workflow. If you would like to push your project from local machine to GitHub repository, then this is the workflow, and this is what we are going to see practically, and we'll see that what problem we face and how to resolve that problem. Okay, so I'm just taking you to the implementation of this. So for this, I'm opening my IDE. So guys, here you can see that I have already created a project with name GitHub demo, and this is a Maven project. You can see I'm expanding it and you can see the files which we have here. So there is a default package of Maven project which is named as com.example.demo, and here you can see that we have this GitHub demo application.java file. Okay, so this is a Spring Boot project, right? This is a Spring Boot application right now, and you can see that we have a bean also which is there with name demo1. It is simply having a method test which is displaying this is the test method onto the console. Okay, nothing else we have here, only one bean and a main class of a Spring Boot application. And these are some extra files we have. This is a pom.xml file, only the Spring Boot starter web we have here, and the test starter we have. Now I would like to push this project onto GitHub repository, remote repository basically. So let me create one remote repository on GitHub. So for that, I'm going to open browser and opening GitHub. Okay, so you can probably log in because I'm already logged in user, so I'm getting this. Or you can simply provide your GitHub credentials and you can get logged in. And after that, I need to create first of all a fresh remote repository. Okay, so I'm creating a new remote repository so that I can show you complete example of how to push your project from Eclipse to GitHub. So here I'm creating a new repository, and this is going to be there with name, let's say basic demos, and I'm going to make it public. You can make it even private. Okay, better, I'm also making it private, and you choose who can see and commit to this repository, and here I'm simply creating this remote repository. So my basic demos repository has been created, and this is my remote repository's URL to use. So now this repository has been created. You can see that this is my basic demos repository, and right now in this private repository I do not have any kind of content. Okay, I have not uploaded any kind of content in this new created repository. So let me take you to this one, and now we'll see that how I can push my Eclipse project, which I have just created, which is already there with name GitHub demo, to this remote repository basic demos. So to push this, I just need to right click on my project, and then I need to go to team. Then here you are getting option of share project. Click on share project. See, the option which you are getting is what? Select an existing repository or create a new one. So it is asking me to make this project folder a local repository. So what you can do, simply you can click on this and select this. So here in this particular project folder, a local repository will be created if you click on this and then finish. Now local repository has been created in this project folder GitHub demos, and now we need to send it to the staging area. Right now you can see that these are the unstaged changes we have in this particular project folder. Okay, so these are the unstaged changes we have, right? So there is nothing in the staging area as of now. You can look at the workflow. First of all, from the working directory we have to add the files to the staging area. So to send them to the staging area, the next step is what? You can just right click on it and you can go to again team, and here we have option of add to index. Okay, add to index. So all the changes which are unstaged right now, you can see over here that these are all the unstaged changes. So if all the unstaged changes are supposed to be sent to the staging area, so we can simply go to team and we can click to add to index. So all the unstaged changes will be coming to the staging area, right? So all those changes you can see have got shifted to staged changes now. And you can see guys, here you are getting a small asterisk along with your project name. Okay, this is the icon. The icon is slightly changed. Now it is there with asterisk. If you see asterisk, that means right now your project's modifications are there in staging area. Then to commit all the staging all the files from staging area to the local repository, you can simply click on right click on your project, again go to team and then click on commit. At the time of commit you need to give a message, commit message. So let's say I'm writing this is initial commit. After this you can have two options, commit and push. This is basically to commit these changes in the local repository and pushing them to the remote repository. With the single button both the options will be performed. But if you simply want to commit these changes to the local repository, then you can click on simply commit. Maybe you don't want to push it right now onto the remote repository, maybe later you will do that, so you can simply go for this commit button. But for this video we want to commit these changes to the local repositories as well as then to push those changes to the remote repository also. So we need both of these two options, and that's why we are going for commit and push. When we click on commit and push, it gives that push to GitHub origin has encountered a problem, can't connect to any repository, and the details are nothing. So I said okay. Here push head, okay, because there was no remote repository provided at that time, there was nothing created, or there was nothing provided for the remote repository. That's why I faced that problem. So what we need to do, we need to provide the URI of the remote repository. So I can simply go to this basic demos remote repository and I can copy this URI, okay, giving this URI here. As soon as you give this URI, the host and repository path is taken automatically along with the protocol. So now here we have to add username and password. So basically here we used to provide the same username and password that we are using for this particular GitHub repository. So with whatever credential I have logged in and created this repository, those credentials I need to provide here. So let me just provide those credentials here, and I'm giving the same credentials with which I have logged in onto GitHub to create this repository. And if I click on preview and I am again asked for entering this username and password, so it asks for credentials 2 times, okay, so I'm giving the same credentials here also. One more time, yes, it happens, not a problem. And you can see again and again it is asking me for the same credentials. That means it is not able to authenticate my repository somehow, okay. Even if I'm giving it this time, you can see what I'm asking, what I'm getting. Problem occurred, fetching remote reference from this has encountered a problem, and the details are what, that this remote repository is not authorized. That means you are not the authorized person to do anything with that remote repository. You are not authorized to make any kind of operation on that remote repository, URL of which you have given here, okay. And guys, this is the problem many people face even if they try to push their Java project onto GitHub repository even with the right credentials. I entered right credential but I'm not authorized. So what is the reason behind why this problem is given? So guys, on 13th August 2021, GitHub changed its policy to authorize the users for a particular remote repository, and you can see what is that policy. As previously announced, starting on August 13, 2021, 9 PST, we will no longer accept account passwords when authenticating Git operations on github.com. And many of you people missed this particular thing, right? This is an announcement made by GitHub on 13th August 2021. They are not going to authorize your remote repositories with your password. Okay, password is no longer accepted for authenticating Git operations on GitHub. So now what is the new way to authenticate that user to perform Git operations on a repository? So guys, they have introduced the concept of personal access token. Personal access token. GitHub announced that users with remote repositories can create a personal access token and can provide that access token to the other users who are allowed to perform any Git operations on this repository. So people with that particular token are allowed to perform Git operations, otherwise not. So now how to create this personal access token on GitHub for a particular repository, and how to provide it to other users, and how to use this token in Eclipse IDE to push this project onto GitHub. This is what we are going to see next. Now, so to generate that personal access token, simply you have to go to the settings. So from here I can go to settings, and here you can see that if I scroll it down, we have developer setting option. Click on it. Then we are getting this option of personal access token. So just click on this personal access token. It is giving me two options: fine-grained tokens and tokens, classic tokens. So I'm going for this one. This is the beta version right now. So I'm going for the token which is a classic one. Click on it, and here there is an option, generate new token. So I'm clicking on it and generating the classic token. Now here you can provide a note, like for what purpose you are generating this personal access token. So let's say for basic demos. Okay, let's say I can give any comment on it so that I can identify the token by this particular note. So I'm just writing for basic demos. This token is going to be created. Now here we have expiration. By default 30 days they have given. You can just make changes accordingly and according to the requirement, and I'm just keeping it as it is. After that, they are providing you the options like what kind of operations are allowed for the users with this personal access token on this repository. Okay, so you can select according to your requirement over here, but right now I'm just selecting them all. Okay, means every kind of operation is allowed to every user with this personal access token on this repository, and as per your requirement you can decide which one to select, which one to not, what operations you want other users to perform. You can decide accordingly. So I'm just selecting them all. And after this, after selecting all the things, after giving all the permissions to the user with this personal access token on my repository, I'm just generating this token. And see, there you go, you can see that this is the token which has been generated for you to perform any kind of Git operations on this repository. So I can copy this, right, and I can keep it somewhere, because I'll have to share this token with other users if I want them to perform any Git operation on my repository. Okay, so it's better to maintain it somewhere. Now the token has been created. Now I can go back to my repository. So I can simply go to the home page. Here you can see this is my basic demos repository which I have just created. It does not have any kind of content uploaded till now, and from Eclipse I simply need to go back again. Okay, let's say I'm making some changes so that I can see some unstaged changes over here. So let's say in this beans file I'm creating one more method. This is for with name get, and this is, let's say, get of demo1. This is the new method which is added, and this is there in unstaged changes. I would like to push this project to the local repository first of all, and then to the remote repository. So again I'm following the same steps. So go to team. So now this time I'm directly getting this option, because already in my project folder a local repository has been created. So now I'm clicking on add to index, so that unstaged changes are there in staged changes. After that I can simply commit. Okay, commit message you need to provide. Let's say the message is final commit, and I need to click on commit and push, because in local repository and then onto the remote repository I would like to push this project. So clicking on commit and push. So yes, I need to provide the URI and everything, so I'm clicking on push head. Here I need to provide URI of my repository. Again I can go to my repository, and from here I can get this URI. Now in username I need to provide my username only, with which I have logged in onto GitHub. But in the password, instead of giving actual password, you need to provide personal access token, right? Like according to the announcement also, they are no longer going to accept password. Only for the password field you have to give personal access token. Username will remain same. So here I already saved my personal access token here, giving this in place of password. Clicking on preview, it is asking me for the username and password once again. Same thing you need to repeat here, techiebrainz@gmail.com, and in the password same access token I'm providing and logging in. But you see, this time you can notice that I am not getting that login window once again, because now that personal access token is authorizing me to perform Git operations on that remote repository. And what kind of operations I can perform? The operations which were allowed to me at the time of creating personal access token here, the permissions which were given to me at the time of creation of personal access token. So only those Git operations I can perform. So now, right now I just have to push this project. So I can simply click on preview, and you can see it is saying from master branch of local repository to the master branch of remote repository, things will be pushed to this particular remote repository, and I'm just clicking on push. One more time it will ask for the same, provide the same credential and the personal access token, login, and you can see that your project is successfully pushed onto your remote repository. Now there is no problem. Simply we can close it, and we can go to the browser to check if it is actually getting this file, if the remote repository is actually getting that project pushed or not. So I'm going to the remote repository, and you can see that this is just now updated, and if I go to this, you can see your project is pushed successfully with message, commit message, final commit over here. And you can see that this is the src folder, source folder, where you had these two packages, and here we have this src folder where we have these two packages, main and demo. And in the main you have a spring, you have this package, and here you have this GitHub demo application.java file, which is your Spring Boot's main class. And in this beans package you have here this demo1.java class. This is the same class which we have here. So this project is now successfully pushed to your remote repository. And see, now the icon has also got changed. Okay, it is no more restricts now. It is showing you the something like a repository symbol you are getting in place of asterisk. That means you do not have anything in the staging area. Everything is pushed onto a repository. So guys, in this video you have seen that how we can push our Eclipse project onto the GitHub repository with the help of personal access token. Earlier, personal access tokens were not there, but from 13th of August 2021 the concept of personal access token was introduced. Passwords are no longer accepted, so go for it if you have missed that announcement. Okay, so guys, I hope you have learned everything what is explained in this video. So guys, if you like this video, hit the like button and share it with your friends who need it. And if till now you have not subscribed my channel, so do subscribe it so that you can get my new videos notifications. And if you want me to explain something more related to this video in detail, so do write me in the comment section. And if you want me to create video on any other topics, so again do write me in the comment section. So guys, thank you so much and see you in the next video. Bye bye.